There must be lights burning brighter somewhere. Got to be birds flying higher in a sky more blue.
Good morning. Welcome to Right Thinking with Steve Copeland. I'm your host, Steve Copeland, and thank you for tuning in. Let's have a great day.
Good morning, everybody. Today is a very, very special day for me. Tomorrow is July the 4th, Independence Day. And I love being an American. I love being free. And so today we're just going to have a celebration. I don't have any other guests on. And what I want to do today is just talk about reflections of freedom, reflections on freedom. And I hope that I can encourage you to embrace our freedom, to take hold of our freedom, to take charge of your life because you live in America. I've got more stuff today that I'm going to put out on the air now than I could probably do in the next 3 shows. And that's a good thing. But this morning, and when I was talking to my wife about what we're all trying to do in life, there are so many people that have the same good, positive message, that are trying to live life in a positive way, to live in a godly way. And so a comment that I told Donna this morning was, you know, there have literally been millions and millions of words written on the subject that I'm talking about. And it's an endless conversation. I came up with kind of an example that, you know, if you really want to hang with somebody that you really admire, you like their philosophy of life, you like the way they are, and they want you to be there to support them, and they have a program, and they say, hey, would you get into my class? It's going to be for 4 weeks, 4 nights a week, Monday to Thursday, for 3 hours. But what they're going to talk about, you are so connected to them that there's very, very little in there that's going to be new for you to help you be able to go out into the world and encourage and love on other people in ways that will help other people. But this person wants you to be in their class to give them support, but that's a lot of a time commitment. So what I'm here to tell you as part of my conversation on freedom today is one of the greatest things we have in America is freedom of choice. And you need to choose how you spend the time to be the most valuable to others and to yourself. And we're going to talk some more about that in a little bit, but I am so blessed that I have so many people around me, people that have been on the show: Jeff Heiser, Don Green, Dave Richards, Lisa Davis, Robin Kazarjan. Every one of those people, their message is the same as mine. They're just trying to help encourage you and motivate you to take that first step. That's the way Jeff says it, to go out there and do things to make your life better, to make the world a better place. So today, I just want to relax with you, and I'm just going to give you a lot of stuff, and let me know after it's all over how you like it. But my objective today is to be able to stimulate your thoughts and get you to take action. And so now I'm going to kind of start into it. I'm going to start all over now. Good morning, everybody. It's been a great week for me. I'm actually about 3 days ahead of a schedule that I was on, and that is highly unusual for me. As y'all know, I'll be 66 years old next week, and I'm kind of a delinquent in life. I've taken a lot of time to get to where I've been trying to go, I've tried really hard, but I've had a lot of setbacks, and that's part of what I do is I talk about perseverance, not quitting, not giving up. But I'm generally right down to the minute. And today I talked about July the 4th last week and said that I'm going to be doing an All-American Cookout. And but I did it not on July the 4th, but on Saturday, July the 1st. That's 3 days ahead of schedule. And I did it because my father-in-law, Ed, was in the hospital for 2 days, and we all had a cookout with Ed and hung out with Ed. And I just want to tell you, Ed, I love you so much, and I am so blessed to be your son-in-law, and I'm so glad that you got out of the hospital so quick. And we had a real 4th of July cookout Saturday afternoon with Ed. And so I'm 3 days ahead, which is a good thing. So now let me just thank Dave Richards for last week's show. He was my guest. It was the 4th time, and I think Dave and I got to a new level. For those of you that haven't tuned in yet and heard Dave Richards, please go back and listen to his shows. Dave is a wonderful person. He's got a lot of wisdom, and he's got a lot of love, and he's there to help other people. And our show last week was all about quality, hanging out with people that are quality, becoming a quality person, understanding quality. And I want to thank my racquetball buddy, Gary. He is my most loyal listener. Well, I have a couple other, but they're direct family members, but Gary's like family. He listens to every show live, if he can, and he's done almost every one of them. And then he talks to me about it, and he encourages me, and we have great conversation, and I love him for that. But last week, Gary gave me a comment that I really appreciated. And I thought it was going to be overly critical and feel like, well, my show wasn't very good, but it really wasn't. He let me know that I stimulated his thinking, but here's what his comment was. He said, Steve, you and Dave, you did about everything you could to shoot all around what quality is without ever really saying what it is. And I said, really, Gary? Tell me what your definition of quality is. And he said, quality is conforming to a standard. And I took a silent pause for a second, and I said, wow, hey, that's good, Gary. Is there more? He said, no, that's it. Quality is conforming to a standard. So we got into this really deep conversation about a standard. Well, is it a good standard? Is it inherent that if it's a standard, that it means that it's a high ideal? Yeah, it does. And he also had given me a couple months ago, and I'm going to repeat it because Gary's really, really good with this, success. Success is the continual pursuit of something worthwhile. So today, on this beginning of the show on freedom, I just want to say thank you, Gary, for leading me into that and for your comments last week. And I hope that a lot of people share their comments on today's show with me. I would greatly appreciate that. Okay, so today, reflections on freedom. And I want to start off like I like to do. I've done my Bible study and learned a whole lot. And I thank every one of you for listening, but I have to be honest with you. I believe that I get more out of this show than anybody else ever could. Maybe that's a bad thing because y'all are supposed to get a lot out of it, those of you that are giving me your time and your choice to listen to me. But the reason I say that is that my normal routine is that my wife and I, when we want to come up with a verse to kind of set the tone for the theme that I'm going to be doing on the show, we come up with several Bible verses and then we do study. And I've given over 2 hours every single week to prepare for just the Bible verse for the show because I want to make sure that what I give each of you is completely from the heart, not just a cliche that sort of ties into whatever the theme is. And so I have been growing myself, getting closer to the Lord as I prepare for this show, and I thank y'all for giving me the opportunity to have this show and take the time to do that. So the verses for today that I'm going to give you are 2 Corinthians verse chapter 3, verse 17. 2 Corinthians chapter 3, verse 17. Now the Lord is the Spirit, and where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is freedom. Now the Lord is the Spirit, and where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is freedom. The second verse is from Galatians chapter 5, verse 13 through 14. You, my brothers and sisters, were called to be free, but do not use your freedom to indulge the flesh. Rather, serve one another humbly in love. For the entire law is fulfilled in keeping this one commandment: love your neighbor as yourself. That one comes right to the heart for me. I hope it reaches y'all the same way it reaches me. Love your neighbor as yourself. The third verse is Romans chapter 6, 22. But now that you have been set free from sin and have become slaves of God, the benefit you reap leads to holiness, and the result is eternal life. If you go back and study these scriptures like I'm trying to do, it will take you to a deeper understanding and a deeper meaning of life. The fourth verse is from 1 Peter chapter 2, 16. Live as people who are free, not using your freedom as a cover-up for evil, but living as servants of God. Thank you very much. I hope that you go back and listen to those some more and try to even meditate on those. Now, I'm surrounded by some wonderful people. I've named out the ones that have been guests on my show, all trying to communicate to others how to live in a way that you can have a better life and be there to help others. A couple of shows ago, Dave Richards, he talked about Nelson Mandela. And Nelson Mandela, he served as president of South Africa from 1994 to 1999. He was the country's first black head of state and the first elected in a fully representative democratic election. Two quotes from Nelson Mandela on freedom. I'm going to give today's section of the show is to give you a series of quotes on freedom. For to be free is not merely to cast off one's chains, but to live in a way that respects and enhances the freedom of others. I'm going to take a pause for a second, and before I start giving you all the freedom quotes that I've got here, and I've got a lot of them, I want to share something with you. And, we live in America, and I've had an opportunity that has just been a wonderful opportunity to have my own radio show where I have a voice that I can try to speak to people. And the radio show that is on the Talk Network Radio, Jeff Heiser, the producer, he also has an online magazine that is a high quality magazine. I've talked about it before. It has National Geographic type photographs in there. And I started writing in the 3 issues ago, May, June, and now July. Now, the issue is going to come out for July, I think on July the 4th or the next day. And I wrote an article on Reflections on Freedom, which is the same as today's show. And so I would like to take the opportunity to share that with you. In celebration of our nation's 241st birthday, this July the 4th, I would like to reflect on the roots of our freedom. May we teach our history to our children and never take these great freedoms for granted. On June the 15th, 1215, when King John of England agreed to the Magna Carta, to make peace with a group of rebel barons, the foundations of democracy were laid.